Hi, it's Lauren here. So today we're going to be looking at Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, extended foot to big toe posture. So this is really the first asana of the primary series, and you learn it after you've learnt your standing asanas. It's pretty challenging and it requires a lot of concentration and balance. So what I want to do in this video is just run through a few tips that are going to help you to practice this asana with more steadiness and ease. Okay, so the first thing that we want to think about when we're practicing any kind of asana really is our foundation. So the foundation is going to be whichever part of your body is making contact with the floor. In this case, it's going to be, we're starting with the right side, it's going to be your left leg, okay? So we want to create a nice strong foundation with the left leg. So we're grounding into the heel and the base of the big toe, and then we're really lifting the front of the thigh to strengthen the leg. From there we might also think about gently lifting and engaging the low belly and lifting the chest. So before we begin, the whole of the left side of the body is nice and strong. And it might be that you bring your left hand onto your waist. If you're quite new to balancing, you might move back to a wall and place your hand on the wall. You could even be getting help, maybe an adjustment from your teacher. Okay, so strengthening through the left side of the body. The second thing we want to think about is our drishti, or our gaze. So drishti is one of the foundational elements of our Ashtanga practice, and when we're balancing, it's really important. So to begin with, you might want to pick a point on the floor in front of you, something that's not moving, and really hold your gaze there, okay? So we're going to bring the left hand onto the waist, we're going to fix our gaze, ground into the left foot, and then on an inhale, take hold of the right knee, that's one option, or you might reach for the big toe, that's the second option. Okay, so all the time here, grounding down into your heel, the base of your big toe, really strengthening the left side of the body, keeping your eyes really still and your gaze steady. As the asana becomes easier for you, you might start to exhale and fold forward and even switch your gaze to your big toe. Okay, so from here, we're going to start to take the leg out to the side. So if you are holding your big toe, sometimes it's helpful to lift the leg a bit higher and then take it out to the side. You might also try the option of holding onto your knee. And here, there's kind of an added challenge because we might start to switch our gaze to look over our left shoulder. So to begin with here, to help you keep your balance, you might keep your gaze looking forward. Then you might start to turn your gaze, just keeping it in line and maybe looking down towards the floor. Once that becomes a bit easier, you might keep your head parallel. So you stay there for 5 breaths. You inhale, come back, either holding the knee or the big toe, and then straighten your leg for 5 breaths. So here again, when you're straightening your leg for your 5 breaths, is another opportunity to really kind of ground and connect with your foundation on the left side. So grounding into your left foot, strengthening the left leg, drawing in your low belly, and softening your shoulders. And then exhale and release, okay? Okay, so that's just a couple of tips that apply there. Whether you're holding your knee or your big toe, you want to really try and ground into the heel of the standing leg, the base of the big toe, and you want to keep your gaze really steady. Okay, so strong drishti. So we're going to move on to the other side now, and I'm just going to talk through a couple of tips if you are actually working on hooking your big toe. Okay, so setting ourselves up again, really strong through the standing leg, hand on the waist. As I inhale, I'm lifting my right leg and going for my big toe. So here, something that you want to try and think about is the connection between your big toe and your fingertips. So we're always trying to kind of create loops of resistance when we practice. So I am pressing my toe back into my fingers, and then I'm pressing my fingers towards my toe, and that is allowing my shoulder to move back into my shoulder socket. So that's one tip for you to keep a really firm grip on your big toe. Okay, so from here, as we take the leg out to the side, a tip for trying to keep your balance is to keep the leg high and then bring it a little lower and then bring it up high again. Okay, so I'll show that again. Start off high, just lower the leg a little bit and then bring it up a bit higher. And sometimes people find that that helps them to keep their balance. Okay, so the other thing is what can happen here sometimes if our hamstring's a bit tight, hamstring say in the leg that we're lifting, what can happen is we might have the leg bent, which of course is completely fine, and you want to try and keep the leg bent if it means that you can keep this leg straight. So sometimes, if I turn to the side, you might see me a little bit better. Sometimes in trying to straighten the leg that we're lifting, the other leg can bend. Okay, so you want to avoid that happening. You want to keep the standing leg straight, and if that means bending the leg that you're lifting, then that's totally fine. Always working on keeping the standing leg straight. So, come back to where I was. If we find ourselves in a situation where we're keeping the standing leg bent, what can happen sometimes, because the hamstring's tight, is our hip can start to lift up and stick out to the side. Okay, so you really want to think about lengthening and drawing that hip down and lifting through the other side so that you can work on keeping your hips level. So I'm just going to have a little bit of a rest for a moment because I've been holding my leg there for a little while. So that's 3 things that we could really think about if we're working on keeping our, if we're working on hooking our big toe. Okay, so number 1, thinking about that connection between your toe and your fingers. Number 2, taking the leg a bit lower and then lifting it up high as you move it out to the side. And that works both ways. And then number 3, if we've got our leg bent, we want to try and the hips rising up, we want to try and think about lowering that hip and lifting the other hip so that we can get our hips level. So those are just a few tips to help with your Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. I hope you liked the video. If you found it helpful, then drop me a comment and let me know, and make sure you're signed up to my mailing list so you can check out some more of my videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.